Dear class, welcome to PLSC 2813. This is Sophia Barkett. You are in Introduction to International Relations and Global Studies. This is the online section, 901 and 902. Let's look at the syllabus very quickly, check out what the textbooks are, check out what kind of work we're doing, and wrap it up for today in a short lecture. So right now, you should know that my email address is sbarkett@uark.edu. As this is an online class, we will not be meeting physically, but I am open to meeting with you on Zoom. So if you have any questions, go ahead, email me. Let's see, I teach political science at the University of Arkansas. Let's look at textbooks and readings. The book that the department requires that we follow is Essentials of International Relations by Karen A. Mingst and Heather Elko McKibben. I try to follow the 9th edition, but as many of you know, the book is in short circulation. There's not a lot of print versions in circulation. If you are lucky to get the used versions, if it's the 9th version or 7th or 6th version, that's fine. The ebook or the Kindle version is the one that's readily available from Amazon.com. University of Arkansas sometimes carries the e-version. You can check with them as well. So this will be the main source of reading, and sometimes we'll have supplementary readings. If there are supplementary readings, they will be in the weekly lessons folders. So when you enter Blackboard, you will see on the left-hand side, there's a menu. Let's go check that out right now while we can actually. Let's check out Blackboard. So when you search for Blackboard, go into Blackboard and let me show you what I'm talking about. So here we are in Blackboard. Go to Courses, click on the PLSC 2813. Here you are, and I'm talking about the left-hand menu. If you have a smaller computer, it may not show, in which case zoom to 90%. So go to zoom and then reduce it to 90%. You should be able to see the left-hand menu, okay? Okay, so then I want you to check out the home page. Home page is here. You will have announcements here. Any tasks that you're required to do will show up here on a weekly basis. What's new? You can click on these things and find out what's going on. Now, I want you to look at the student view because this is the instructor view. Let's look at the student view and what it looks like. So you will be able to see the home page. You will be able to see announcements. Check out the announcements that are here. It says buy the textbook, okay? Now, one of you emailed me and said you tried to click on the link that was provided for the textbook. I looked and I couldn't find the link. What you should do is look for this title in Amazon.com or in the university bookstore, okay? And the authors will be Karen Mingst, Heather McKibben. I go with the 9th edition, and as I just mentioned, it's in short supply. The second part of the announcement says, get acclimated with Blackboard course shell. So look around Blackboard, which is what we're doing today. So every week on Monday morning, a new weekly lesson folder will open up for you, okay? So go click on weekly lessons. You'll see there's lesson 1 for week 1. Read it. Take a look at what else is there. check out the lectures, and what else is going on. So you'll have some work to do. It'll start on Monday. You'll see that a new lesson is there. There might be a quiz inside the week one folder, or there might be a writing assignment for you to do. And so if you have a writing assignment, go to the discussion board. Right now, you are not seeing all the discussions, but they are going to open up um, in a few weeks. So each assignment will open up for you. And so you should look at the discussion board so you don't miss anything. What else is going on? Let's see. Let's go back to that announcement because I had written down quite a bit in there, which is useful for you. Check out the course syllabus. Okay, we're going to do that. There's a schedule of readings and assignments that I want you to look at, okay? Check out the discussion board. We talked about that, and you did introduce yourself, so that's very good. If any of you are signing in this weekend, make sure you introduce yourself in the discussion boards section. There's a forum set up for you. Okay, so let's look at the syllabus. Here's your syllabus, and it gives, my name, my department, how to contact me. Look at the textbook, Blackboard Computer University. So what you have to do is check Blackboard every Monday morning, but also throughout the week because you'll have announcements, okay? So I want you to check Blackboard. You should also check your University of Arkansas email on a regular basis. And by regular, I mean every day, at least once, because faculty are trying to reach you, different departments, such as the registrar's office, other kinds of offices are trying to reach you. So do check into your University of Arkansas email every day, okay? There might be emergency emails from faculty and other places, so do not fall behind on checking email. So as far as contacting me, go ahead and send me an email whenever you see something is wrong with Blackboard or if you have a question. I'm happy to talk to people in person. If people are comfortable going on Zoom and talking to me, that's fine as well. We can talk about any questions you might have. Make sure that you have a good idea about the drop and add deadlines for the courses, right? Because if you decide to drop a course, you want to get your money back, so you make sure that you drop it on time. Look at the course content. What are we doing? Read this section very well. IR essentially is a field, we talk a little bit about theoretical things in here. What are the theories we use to understand international relations? We look at that. Part of the work is also to try and understand different kinds of things that are happening. So we all have, we have these theories, but we also have different kinds of research questions. So some of the theories will answer particular research questions. And you will see that in the video in the first week's folder on what is, IR broadly about. But we also spend a lot of time looking at international organizations and international institutions, right? So what are institutions? We'll look at these things more in depth, over the weeks. So all kinds of things we look at, such as, not just geopolitics and, why wars happen, why peace happens, but also what are people doing during peacetime? You look at these, economic activities that are happening around the planet. Are they being organized by, particular organizations? What kind of laws and rules do they follow? We look at human rights issues, we look at laws and courts. We spend some time talking about environment and energy, nuclear politics, that sort of thing. Um, we also look at international development, and that's a very interesting topic. Blackboard, as I mentioned, this section will go over Blackboard. So let's look at the type of assignments you have. You will have 5 written assignments. Each will be 100 points. I actually used to give 50 points for each of these assignments, but since people do a lot of work, I decided to give you more points for each assignment. And so these are going to be quite comprehensive, each assignment. You write quite a bit. There's going to be many, for example, there's going to be a question and it will say, look at the following links, read the following links, watch the following videos, and then write a very good comprehensive answer and discuss these links and videos directly. So, each will have a title. So you'll reference that. You'll say, oh, so I was watching this video by so-and-so, and the title was this. And what did the video talk about? You'll directly reference it in your answers. So completing assignments, not just writing your answer, but because this is an essay, you should have a beautiful um, format for writing, right? You should make sure there's paragraphs used for different themes. You should have an introduction. You should have body of the essay. You should have a conclusion. In each of these sections, in the introduction, you should um, sort of introduce the key arguments you have. And then in the body of the essay, you should then try to show us each of these arguments, supported with discussion of material that you just saw or just read, and then have a strong conclusion. A lot of times, students don't pay attention to the format, and they also forget to use paragraphs, forget to spell check, grammar check, and it sometimes I even get a wall of text. It looks like a big rectangle, a huge block with no breaks. This is, something you can never do in college, right? So make sure you write beautifully. And not only am I reading the answer, when you post in the discussion forums, you are going to post your answer to the whole class, but no one can see it until they've made their post, right? And so basically, this will be what people read and see, right? And so you want to be as impressive as possible in your writing, okay? That being said, I give 0 points unless the work is actually done by the student themselves. So if I see that somebody has used ChatGPT or any other kind of AI forum, I give a huge 0. We have ways of catching that on Blackboard. More so, I can tell when people's answers are completely the same. So I would say that avoid ChatGPT like the plague. And one reason being, um, you are trying as a student to get a good grade, but at the same time to learn something and to apply your God-given or, universe-given brain, your critical skills, your creative skills, and you're also trying to develop that, right? You're trying to develop a voice as a writer. You're trying to develop a personality. And so, don't rely on some technical objects. Rely on yourself. You're brilliant. Show me that you are an intelligent person, right? So I would say forget using those kinds of technologies that will just get you in trouble. So the best thing to do is do the work, watch the videos. They're there to entertain you. Sometimes they can be a bit long, but that's why you should not do work last minute. Take time. Start watching the assignment videos as soon as the assignment is posted or made available on a particular Monday. You'll get 2 weeks to finish the written assignments. But what happens is students will, why do I give this time? Because you have other things to hand in. So I don't want to be like, okay, hand it in by Sunday. So I give you 2 Sundays, right? But at the same time, students will sometimes not be the best at time management. And they will say, oh, I'll do it later because it's not due now, right? But what happens is then you end up doing a last minute thing. People then use all kinds of garbage resources like ChatGPT. And then what happens is I don't get to read what you want to say. I end up reading what ChatGPT is saying, right? And I don't care for ChatGPT. I really don't want to hear what ChatGPT has to say. You know, you're the student, right? So let's focus on doing great work, beautiful writing. If you have any kind of, like issues about your writing, for example, you don't feel confident, I would say post it, post your answer. Let me take a look at what needs to change. Let me give you the advice, okay? Every student will get the opportunity to redo their work and make it beautiful before I give you the final grade on the assignment. So just because you posted an answer doesn't mean that, that's it. No, we're there to help you, right? So if I see that the answer needs like, 90% work, I would say that you haven't done any work, in which case, in that kind of situation, don't post anything. But if I see that the person has struggled with their writing, but they have done all the research work that's required, they've looked at all the articles, I can see it in their writing, but the writing is choppy, it's not coming together, then I will definitely tell you, you know what, take a look at your answer. Here's where you need to fix something. Okay, so let's look at quizzes. Now, the quiz section is set by the department, and I cannot change it. Each quiz has to be completed within the 2 weeks time frame. If you have accommodations from, let's see, the Center for Educational Access, then you'll get a little bit more time. So if you think that you need that, please go ahead and write them so that I can hear from them and give you the accommodations, right? I can increase the time for you then. Now, each quiz you'll have to do 8. Each of these quizzes will be 35 minutes. They're kind of tricky, so it does need, you do need to study very carefully for the quizzes. So that means, go and read the textbook. Therefore, download the textbook or get the textbook as soon as you can so you can start studying, okay? The first week I gave you a lecture which goes over some of the main topics that we study. It's going to give you something to do, but you're not really reading anything, right? What you need to be doing is getting the textbook and starting your education as soon as you can, because the quizzes are not easy. You do need to study. But because they're difficult, I will take the top 5 scores. So don't panic too much. If you haven't done well in 1 or 2 quizzes, that's okay, as long as you are able to finish all 8 quizzes. So the total point from the quiz section will be 100. And the total point from the written assignments will be 500 because you're doing 5. And the total will be out of 600, okay? So 90% and above is an A, 80% and above is a B, 70% and above is a C. Look at the course schedule. So this week we were supposed to look at the syllabus, buy the textbook, watch the introduction lectures, right? Look at the lectures in week 1 and look at the discussion forum section. Start reading chapter 1 as soon as you can. Next week, we will start talking about chapter 1. Quiz 1 is going to open up and it's going to be due February 4th. So you don't really have too much time, right? You just have 2 weeks per quiz to get ready for the quizzes. Now, approaches in IR, chapter 1 is actually not too long, but it's you still have to study. So what will happen is next week we'll open up the folder on Monday. You'll start looking at chapter 1. There will be a lecture on chapter 1, which will be helpful even if you don't have the book by then. So the quiz will be related to the lecture, but you really should be looking at the book to understand, to do very well on the quizzes. As far as the written assignments, we're going to ask you questions about the book, and I'm going to ask you then, give you these case studies or scenarios, and then you're going to talk about what you learned from the book and how these scenarios fit into what you learned from the book or the lectures, okay? So these things will be important. You do need to read the book. You do need to watch the lectures. So week 3, we'll look at chapter 2, and we're going to look at half of chapter 2 because it's very long. You'll be looking at the history of European states, and there will be mini videos in there for you to look at. So there will be short videos on each of these very interesting, fun kind of videos from YouTube, which give you this, background about Europe, and it's going to make it easier for you to study. So sometimes these other, external lectures will be there from YouTube because they make learning fun and easy. But that doesn't mean that you don't read the book. You read the book because the book will have a lot of things you need for the quizzes, right? Okay, so by week 5, we are really studying the theories of international relations. We'll look at realism, and there will be a quiz based on history of European states, which is chapter 2. Quiz 2 will be due February 18th, and then you have work related to the theoretical stuff. But we will not have quizzes on chapter 3 and 4. We'll actually be studying those sections in depth and doing a lot of writing. So here you see written assignment 1 will be due Sunday, February 25th, okay? And the assignment question has already been developed. It's related to realism. Written assignment 2 will be due on on March 3rd. And these are too close to each other. You'll see that one is 1 week away from the other. It's because we don't have quizzes these weeks. And this is to keep you busy on something which is writing related instead. When we get to chapter 5, we're back to quizzes again. Chapter 6, we'll read part of it and we'll read part of chapter 7. You'll see a quiz on chapter 5. You'll see a quiz on chapter 7. That's the week we have spring break, but your quiz will be due by that Sunday, okay? Okay, so do look at these sections on your own when you get time. It's very easy, but you'll see that we end up doing these quizzes and written assignments Usually on, one Sunday we'll have a quiz due, and the next Sunday we'll have some other activity due. With the exception of April 7th, because we have the spring break, the work kind of gets a little bit delayed. So we don't have a lecture for spring break. We have to start after spring break. And so written assignment 4 ends up the same week as quiz 8. So there's extra work there, right? And right after that, the next Sunday, we have quiz 11 due. And the week after that, we have assignment 5 due. So here we have 2 more quizzes and then we're done. So we do not have too much work piling up towards the end. There's no final exam. There's no midterm exam. So that's a good thing. Look at the other course policies. One of the big one is on being sick or being late. I give you 2 weeks time frame for each assignment, but I know that students often have many things going on in their lives. You have more than one assignment that's due. So it's okay if you're unable to do the work for a given week, but I need an email letting me know earlier that you have a conflict, something else is happening, and so then I will give you an extension. But as you see, there's so much work here that if you fall behind, it's really going to be a problem. Therefore, do manage your time very well. So because of the level of work that's required, um, falling behind is not an option. Stay on course. Always check your email. Always check your Blackboard course shell. Don't fall sort of, out of the loop and then vanish and then last minute, at the end of the semester come and say, oh my God, I'm, going to fail this course. Please give me an extension. Because when that happens, you end up doing the work, and sometimes people do great work at the end, but this could have been avoided, right? So manage your time well. Make sure you're reading your Blackboard assignments. You know exactly what's going to happen, and you do not fall behind, okay? So let's stop here for today. On Monday, we'll have a lecture related to chapter 1. See you then.